Hi, Jan here. Welcome or welcome back. It's great to see you again. Making a decided effort to keep making content now. You know, I had a long time when I wasn't making any videos. Part of the reason that I wasn't making videos was I had a little secret that I didn't want you to see until I told you about. And so that's what I'm going to try and do today, just to tell you about it, and also hopefully, fingers crossed, maybe even edit some pictures in so that I can show you more about what I'm going to tell you about. Well, that's all a bit cryptic, isn't it? But as you know, Tales from a Broken Brain, tales belonging to my beloved dogs and in the past my cats. They're both passed away now, and we'd had a period of 3 years where we very rapidly lost 3 of our beloved dogs. There was actually 2 years between Darcy and Reckless passing away, but it felt very, very close. And then after we lost Reckless, Chester went, I think 11 months afterwards. And it all felt very, very, very raw at the time. And especially, I think, because out of the 4 dogs, we'd lost 3 of them. And Bear, the 4th dog, was getting very, very elderly. And even though he's in really good health, he's doing remarkably well. I think he's about 16 this year. We don't know for certain because he's a rescue dog. But it just felt as though he could go at any minute, because we weren't expecting any of the others to suddenly get ill and pass away in the way that they did. So it just felt like dominoes, that we were just losing them all. But about, because we had introduced 2 new dogs into the home. So we still had Bear's still going strong. Then we had Echo, our new chocolate lab, and we got Oakley, our new black Labrador. And I started to think that if we lost Bear and we wanted to have the dogs that we had left to be of us, I wanted them very close in age so that their exercise requirements would be the same, and they would just kind of grow up together. The last 3, Darcy, Reckless and Chester, had all been, Darcy and Reckless were the same age, but then Chester was a year younger. And it was just a lovely mix of ages. And so I had started back in, it would have been autumn, late summer, early autumn of 23. I started to think about maybe getting a very last puppy. Now, I know I've said this before, our very, very, very last puppy. But these things are so difficult. It's not easy to just go out and get a puppy. You've got to find the right breeder. And I had decided that this time I would want another yellow puppy, a yellow lab. And again, when we got Darcy and Reckless, they were both from the same breeder, but she had retired after breeding Labradors for 40 years. She's not breeding Labradors anymore. But I just had it in my head that I wanted the new puppy to be related to Reckless. And actually, if you look at the pedigrees of all of our Labradors, they're not close relatives, but because Labradors in the UK are all kind of, if you go back far enough, they're all common ancestry. But I wanted to get as close as we could in terms of ancestry as we could to Reckless. So I started my search. I didn't know where to look for a yellow Labrador, so went back to good old Google and YouTube and looked up crufts to see who was showing at crufts, you know, who was, and I actually found a yellow lab, best of breed, managed to find the breeder and traced it back from there. Actually managed to contact her, and she was planning a litter in the September. So put my name down for one of her puppies, and that would have been September 23. But then the bitch that she was going to breed from didn't come into season. She had another bitch that she was going to try as well. I think she was mated, but it didn't take. Whatever. However these things work, however these things go, there were no puppies. So, okay then, we'll just have to wait until nature sorts itself out and it all comes right. So I thought it's probably just as well, because I didn't relish the idea of house training a puppy in the winter, you know, because you've got to be able to teach them to go outside, and it would be easier to do that in the summer, when I've always had puppies in the summer, so you can just have the door wide open and they can just run in and out, and they pretty well learn to go out and do whatever in the garden. And so it's been sort of fairly painless trying to house train the puppies that we've had. So Christmas comes and goes, and then after Christmas, finally we get an email, good news, she's got some puppies on the way. I was second on her list for a boy. I decided I want to have a boy this time. Echo is my second bitch, and because I've got boys as well, it's just easier if they're boys. You know, you don't have to worry about seasons and spaying and all this sort of thing. So if it's a boy, it would I'll just put my name down for a boy and that will do. And then eventually the puppies are born, and there's it was a mixed litter of black and yellow. There were 2 little yellow boys and a little yellow girl. I'm just trying to think, because there was Mr. Silver and Mr. Black. She always calls them Mr. whatever. She puts a coloured collar on them, and then it's Mr. Blue or Mr. Black or whatever. There was a silver collar and a black collar. But then she had another litter 10 days later. All yellow puppies, only one boy. But then she contacted me and said that for whatever reason, the person who was first in line for boys had pulled out for, I don't know why, but that meant that I'm number one on the list for a boy, so it's my choice, so, which was wonderful. And when we went to meet them, I can't even, I think the first litter were second litter was about 5 weeks, so the first litter must have been about 6-7 weeks old, because like I say, there was 10 days difference. So we went to meet the first litter, and picked puppies up and cuddled them, and that was absolutely lovely. But then she said, would you like to meet the other litter? And something in my bones had said, my puppy is that boy from the second litter. It was just something about that puppy, not least of which was the fact that the second litter was born on Reckless's birthday. The connection ancestry wise to Reckless was stronger on the second litter, and it's very, very hard to compare one puppy to another when there's 10 days difference, because they are so a huge amount of difference at that age. You know, one's tiny weeny and the other's developing personality and things like that. But I had just fallen in love with this other one, but we weren't at that stage allowed to hold him, because we've been holding the first litter, and just in case of cross-contaminating anything from the older puppies to the younger puppies. She's really, really careful about looking after her puppies. So she actually picked him up, and if I'm able to edit, then I will edit a bit in and show you. If not, then I will just tell you about it. So she picked up this puppy, and she was saying that this whole litter that he was part of was just such a sleepy, lazy litter, because there were only 5 of them. Mum had so much milk, they were all just milk drunk the whole time. So they were just really calm, sleepy, beautiful puppies. And so we went on the day as arranged to go and pick him up when he was old enough to come home. He was 8 weeks old. And we went to see him, and I found out that his kennel name was Deep Purple, which purple is just my colour. So that in itself was another tick. And Deep Purple was the first band that I had ever seen live. And so when I said that, and she said, "Oh, he's definitely your puppy then." But she'd had somebody else come to look for a puppy for because these are showbred puppies. These are bred for the show ring. And somebody had come to look for one of the girls and seen my boy, but was so blown away about how well put together he is, for want of a better word. You know, I'm a pet owner. I don't show dogs. I don't know enough of the terms. But he's such a good puppy. She said, "You can't let this one go to be a pet." And luckily for me, the breeder said, "No, it's all arranged. You know, I've given my word. He's got a family, and he's going to the family." But they both, between them, because they're both breed and show champions, you know, they both said that he is such a promising puppy had he gone to the show ring. But I just wanted him because I knew that he was my puppy. So we went to get him. He was born on the 10th of March, so he would be coming home March, April, May. It must have been about, yeah, it was May. He came home just before all the building chaos started. So where I had said that I would rather have a puppy in the summer because you can leave the back door open all the time, of course I couldn't. I've had all summer with the puppy I've never been able to teach him that he's allowed to ask to go out. All the other dogs, because I actually have bells hanging on the door, so if they want to go out, all they have to do is ring the bell, and Neil or myself will go and open the door for them and let them out. I've never been able to teach him to do this because the answer might be no. And so for the first few months we were just having accidents with him. We were having accidents with our bigger dogs. It was a total disaster at the beginning. So it wasn't just all the building going on, it was puppies and dogs and weighing everywhere and accidents everywhere. It just became incredibly stressful. So before I got him, well, actually going way back before I got Darcy and Reckless, when I was getting, actually it was years and years before that, it was last century when we lost Bruno, my last of the last century dogs. Neil and I had said one day we would get 2 Labradors and I was going to call one Saxon. But then when I got Darcy, Neil got Reckless. But Darcy was a girl and Saxon wasn't a girl's name. So I've had this name sort of waiting for various dogs that have come and gone over all the years. So I thought, this is my last puppy. It's my last chance to use this name. I like to also, all of the dogs have their own different colour collars and leads. So Echo has like a, well, Darcy was purple, Echo is like a raspberry pink, Bear is blue, Reckless was red, Chester was a limey green, Oakley's a turquoisey green, the only colour I could find left was this beautiful forest green in the same style that the others had. And I thought, Forest, now that's a lovely name for a dog. And I did think for a little while, should I call him Forest? But then I just thought, no, I'm going to be up the woods one day and it's going to happen. We're going to start shouting, run, Forest, run. So we decided, I said, no, it's not going to be Forest, it's going to be Saxon. So the name was set. His posh name is La Pema Deep Purple. His household name is Saxon. And he is just the most beautiful dog you have ever seen. Golden Labrador. Normally you call them yellow Labradors, but to me he is very much the gold at the end of the rainbow. We lost so many of our beloved animals that, you know, it felt as though we were camped out at Rainbow Bridge at one point, but now he is very, very much the gold at the end of the rainbow. And whilst all the others are running in my ghost pack, I have this beautiful, beautiful boy. He's now here we are. I mean, it's January at the moment, January the 20th, so he's what, 10.5 months old. He's now my second biggest dog out of all of them. Oakley is very tall. Oakley might still be just half an inch taller than Saxon, but he's a much slimmer build. Whereas Saxon is a real chunky show build. He's got the most stunning shaped head. But the wonderful thing is, now that I've told you about him, I can show you videos of them all together. Because I've been desperately trying to think, well, I want to make a film of this or I want to make a film of that, but I don't want to show Saxon until you know about Saxon. So it was a case of making this film first. I hire a private field for them twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays. So we've got locally in the south of England, there's a company called Poor Paddock that have these fields that are totally secure. You book it for a private session so that there's nobody else coming in with their dogs. It's just you and your dogs. And there's quite a few other fields like this, but Poor Paddock is one of the only one that will take up to 4 dogs. And of course I need to take 4 at a time. So we've been taking him over to Poor Paddock, where they get off the lead, just running free. They can just go as wild as they like. And so I'll be taking lots of videos there for you so that you can see him and the others all on the field being happy. But just over a week ago, I had a problem with my car, and it's been in the garage for over a week now. Just got it back this morning, which is why my hair's looking weird, because I put a hat on when I went to get it, and my hair's gone all flat because I had a hat on, because it's still very, very chilly here. But that means that tomorrow's booking for the paddock is, we've got my car back. Neil's got a car, but it's not suitable to take 4 big dogs in, and they are 4 big dogs. I mean, Bear's 39 kilos, Echo's 28, she's the smallest. Oakley's about 33, and I think Saxon's 34 and a half now. So they're big dogs, so it needed my car back. But we can go back to the field tomorrow. They will be so thrilled, and I'll get some footage tomorrow for you. Right, I'm going to do now what I've been trying to do ever since I started this channel about 5 years ago, and that's learn to edit, because I really want to try and insert some photos and possibly even some little bits of video of Saxon for you. And then when you see the beautiful big grown-up dog that he is, you could say, well, seen him when he was a little puppy. So I'll leave that for today, but thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, comment below, share, do all those things. Okay, take care. Lots of love to you all. Bye.